Okay, so we have done the bar chart and the pie charts. So we'd like to go for the next step, which is comparing two nominal variables, right? So this here is an example we discussed in the class that in a major North American city there are four competing newspapers: Global Mail, Post, Star, and Sun. And there are, of course, readership for these newspapers, and the readership is categorized based on occupation. So here's the example, and so this is the example that we are looking at, and I can show you where is this example in the files. Go up in this. So when you download the files from data that is posted on the Blackboard, you'll find this is the place that you can see the files all. Download them, and if you download them you will get something like this, and in this file you can go to chapter 2. In chapter 2 this is the example number 4. So this is what we would like to study. Now here what we can see that this is the reader number, and this is the occupation, and this is the newspaper, right? But these are basically the labels. What are the labels? We can go back and look into the file that has been set to us, that this is the labels. These are the labels. So what are these labels? We copy them, and for our reference we bring them in here. The best way to do this, to keep the records in here, we make a text box and we copy them in here. So this is, so what is this? The first one, the category is the newspaper and the other category is the occupation. And these are the two categories: blue collar, white collar, and the professional. So when you see an occupation, let us read the first one. So the first reader is the having an occupation 2, meaning that he does the white collar job, and he reads the post, for instance, because the code is 2 for the post. Let's take a look at the second worker. Second worker does the blue collar job, and he reads the sun, because the sun is a 4 code. So this is the current representation of this. So now what we like to study, as mentioned in here, we like to study the cross tabulation, meaning that we want to study the cross relationship between the two features. One is the newspaper readership, and the other one is the its relationship with the category or the category of the worker. So whether it's a blue collar worker, the white collar worker, or the professional worker. So the best way of doing things is this way, that we select the data. So this is the data that we had, and this is significantly high in terms of numbers. So 355 observation. We go on the top, and then we go in here called insert to do the cross tabulation. When we do the insert, we go here something called pivot table, and this is the pivot table. You can see the data has been already selected because I select them. What you can do, you can create the tables, cross tabulation table, in the next sheet, or if you want you can create in the same sheet. So for convenience we like to print in the same sheet, so we selected okay, start printing from here, and then we go to the next. The moment I select next, it is showing me some of the feature for the pivot table, which is cross tab, and some of the features. There are two variables that we selected. So what we selected is the occupation, right? So occupation goes in the row, for instance, so 3 labels, and the newspaper goes in the column, right? So the moment we did that, it's complete. So this is done. Now here you can do few things in here. One of the things that you can know that, since you know that this is basically 1, 2 and 4, they mean something to you, right? So what you can do, you can create a copy of this table control. So what I do, I go there in edit menu and say copy, and then I say paste, right click, say paste. So this has been pasted, but I know that this row meaning 1 stands for the blue collar worker, so I can go there and change this to what about this one, white and then this one is professional. Okay, what about this one? I know the category is the global mail, so I can write it here GNM, global mail, for the first one. Okay, and for second one is the post, so I can write it here, the second one as post. Third one is the star, and the last one is the sun. Now what I can see from here, that I can increase the size. Okay, what I can see from here, that the number of workers who are blue collar workers in the analysis, which are how many, 712, they, among them 27 they read global mail, 18 they read post, 38 reads star, 37 reads sun. And how many are the blue collar worker, they read among the total of 714, 120. So this is the current representation of the cross tabulation. Okay, so as we discussed that the picture represents the very good analysis of this. So what we can do, we can click on this, right, in order to create a picture. You go there, select the columns that we have, right, and we go in and insert like we used to do for the bar chart. Then you go create bar chart and it's created for us. See, look at this, it's very easily being created for us, right? And what you can do, again, you can go there and say you want to display the item, for instance, chart layout format. You can say chart layout, for instance, and you can say, okay, I want the numbers to be displayed. So in this case, this is being displayed. The other thing you can do it here, that you may delete one and keep some. For example, you wanted to compare not all, but you want to compare, say, only 2, and in here you also don't want to compare, but rather you want to compare, say, global mail versus sun, for instance, and it gives you the good picture that how things have been going on in here, right? Okay, does make sense? Everything is clear now. As we discussed that sometimes the count is not a good representation, but the percentile representation is a better representation. Okay, so for doing this, you can edit this table, otherwise you can start from the scratch. So we prefer to start from the scratch and avoid any confusion. What I do, I select again the same data set, right? One more thing I like to mention, that you want to return this back, you can say select all and it returns back all the original. So you can select all and it returns back all the original. Okay, so this is how you can do this. The other thing that we can, as I mentioned, that we wanted to present the percentage. So again, we select the same data set. The data set has been selected. Okay, and then we go here, insert, again pivot table, and this time it is selected. You can see the data has been selected, but I say okay, create within the same sheet. So I may say okay, print from here, and then I'm gonna go and say okay. Now here what I'm gonna do, I'll select again the occupation. Once I select the occupation, it goes in the row and the other one goes in the column, right? Now in here I select this and say field value settings. In the settings, you can see there currently the sum of occupation, but you can say show values as what, no calculation, but you can say no, give me the calculation as the column wise percentage, and it creates you a column wise percentage. So the same data set, and this time I'm gonna go and click on this. The moment I click on this, you can see it is calculating based on the same column. So this 14 stands for what? Among the readers of the global mail, which is code number 1, 14% are blue collar, 31% are the white collar, and 53% are the professionals. And similarly in here, when I say that among the readership of the Post, which is the newspaper, code number 2, 7% is the blue collar, 33% is the white collar, and the 59% is the professional. So this is one of the representation, and you can do the other way around in this case as well. So what I'm going to do, I'll take the same data set, right, and I don't have to reselect everything. Maybe I can do this way. So I select this, and then I go there, say values, and this is settings. Sorry, in this case, first of all, I have to select this table. Okay, I selected this table. So I select it, and then I say settings, field settings, and this time I say, before we selected the percentage of the column, we can say percentage of the row, and in this case it's gonna create columns for you. So this time what you see the other ways, meaning that it is among the white collar workers. Actually we can copy this, it would be better. So we can create the same. For example, if I just do this, I'm gonna create, okay, we can change this, and this gives you the percentage within a row. So for among the total count of say 120, how many percentage wise are in the blue collar worker reading the global mail, which is 22%, reading the Post, which is 15%, and Star and the Suns are 31 and 30%. From here we can also look into this. These two percentages are very close. So among the blue collar worker, the two newspapers, which are Sun and the Star, they are equally popular. Okay, equally popular. And so this is one way of doing things, and again you can create the same chart, right? And if you want to have a grand total, so you want to go over the field wise, what you can do, again you can select the field code, and you can say I want it to change by values, but this time I'm gonna go look into the whole table. So I'm going with the grand calculation. So what you see that out of the total readership in this column, only 3% are the blue collar worker and they read the global mail. This is what it says. Similarly, there are about 2.5% people who are the blue collar worker and reading the Star in this case, right? This is the, okay. There are about only 5.232% people who are reading the Sun out of 712 for 14 observations that we have observed in here. Then they are the blue collar worker and they are reading the Sun newspaper, the Star newspaper. So this is the representation that you can get in the cross tabulation, and this is a very widely used representation. You can also develop a chart on this. Suppose if I select this and I go to insert again and I say bar chart, it creates the chart for me. So this is how it created from chart. Okay, and I can go again change the names. The moment I change the name, the chart is updated accordingly. Okay, so this concludes the Excel representation of how to create the cross tabulation.